Well, also, looking back in the 40s, every dollar counted. So if you was thrown out of the game, you really were affected.
That was
1-2 pitch is a beauty. And March swings right through it. So Bo McGee strikes out the last two men on the top of the third inning. A 1-2-3 frame. To the home half of the third we go. It's Barnstormers 4, the Black Barons 3.
That's me, Andy. And it's my 10th day with Prilosec OTC. I love that it started to work on my frequent heartburn the first day. I can get zero heartburn for 24 hours with one pill a day. So what day are you on?
The Pittsburgh Steelers have won their 5th Super Bowl.
Touchdown, Pittsburgh!
Relive all the excitement of their championship season with Sports Illustrated and this must-have NFL Films DVD, The Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl 40 Champions. Plus, this Sports Illustrated hardcover commemorative book takes you inside the Steelers' unbelievable season with SI's best writing and photography. Both are free with your paid subscription to SI. Get 56 issues for only $1.59 an issue. Save 60% off the cover price. Use your credit card and get this collectible football honoring the champion Steelers. This exclusive keepsake features the scores from their entire season and includes a display stand and certificate of authenticity. Celebrate the Steelers' unforgettable victory with this fantastic SI Super Bowl championship package. Go to SIPittsburghoffer.com or call now to get the official Super Bowl DVD, the SI commemorative book, and the exclusive football, all free from SI.
Is that your new Sprint phone?
Uh-huh. With Sprint's new fair and flexible plans, no one can tell me what to do. I can talk when and how I want. It's my little way of sticking it to the man.
But you are the man.
I know.
So you're sticking it to yourself.
Maybe.
Sprint's new fair and flexible plans. With no huge overages or roaming charges, you control your plan. It doesn't control you. Plans start at just $29.99 a month. Sprint. Yes, you can.
The Ford CIAA Tournament, live. Quarterfinal and semifinal action from America's most historic Black College Conference. The 2006 Ford CIAA Basketball Tournament live starts 9:30 Thursday and Friday on ESPN Classic.
Did Bob Knight go too far? Doesn't winning count? And what about the show? If it happens again tomorrow, I'll be wrong again tomorrow. The top 5 reasons you can't blame Bob Knight for his repeated outbursts. 9 Eastern Tuesday, only on ESPN Classic.
Baseball, baseball, when baseball was just a game, but I still love it.
In less than an inning's time, the greatest player to ever play right here at Rickwood Field, Willie Mays, will join the broadcast, so you want to stay tuned for that. Well, Sundays were always important days for African Americans here in Birmingham. Sunday mornings belonged to the churches, but after that, there were the Black Barons.
In Birmingham, the heart of the African American community can be found in its churches. And no institution could promote Negro League baseball better than the church.
That's the foundation. In the church, you had school, sports, music. The church had its little baseball team as well. We would find ourselves playing ball with broomsticks. There was no such thing as a baseball. You couldn't afford a baseball bat. And we would learn to hit cans, anything that you could get, throw a rock.
We had 11 o'clock service. When the Negro Leaguers were in town, they set the clock back to the 10 o'clock service so they could come to the ballpark.
The ministers didn't prolong the worship on Sunday. They wanted to be sure they were here when the game started. And you see some of the most dressed up people you would want to see anywhere because they left the church, came to the ballpark.
The ministers of Birmingham had it good. They had the church on Sunday to win the souls of the parishioners and the Black Barons to win their hearts and minds.
It is fitting that we are playing baseball here at Rickwood Field on a Sunday. And so far, so good. It has been a sun-splashed Sunday here at the oldest ballpark in the country, built back in 1910. Home of the Black Barons, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the early 60s. New pitcher on the mound for the Bristol Barnstormers. That's Terry Bishop, and he gives up a leadoff single to Maurice Daly to begin the 4th inning. I'm sorry, to begin the home half of the 3rd inning. So Maurice Daly on at first. He's been on base both times he stepped in the dish.
Well, that's a good point, Eric, because they're wearing their what's traditionally the road jerseys, but they wore the road jerseys at home, the gray jerseys.
They had one set of uniforms,
right,
and they were gray. Trying to sneak attack, bunt down the third base side. Sam Nelms has it roll foul. Black Barons scored 2 runs in the 1st inning, 1 more in the 2nd, but they now trail 4-3. That's the new pitcher, Terry Bishop. Played his college ball at St. Rose, played professionally in the Philadelphia Phillies organization. He's a big fella.
I think those shadows are coming into play, like you said earlier, Billy.
It'll be a little better in the next 2 innings or so because all of it will be in shadows, and then it'll move a little bit across the outfield. So I would say in about 2.5 innings it should be okay.
Called strike. Nelms down the hole, 0-2. This Black Barons team wearing the uniforms that they wore back in 1948. That was a special year for the Birmingham Black Barons. That year they won the Negro American League pennant. Eventually lost in the Negro World Series against the Homestead Grays.
Beat the Kansas City Monarchs for the pennant and then lost to the Grays in 5 games.
Actually in the building. We've talked so much about Willie Mays is here, and we're going to talk to Willie Mays next inning, but he is in the building. There are actually 3 members of that team still actually here, right here at Rickwood Field today. Willie Mays, the Reverend Bill Greason, and Jim Zapp have all been celebrated over the last couple of days surrounding this game. And actually, as we speak, George Smith is preparing to talk to one of those members. The Reverend Bill Greason is standing by with George Smith. George, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. We are here with Reverend Greason. He's got the nice jacket on. He's got a nice seat. He's moved to the sunny side, I see. How are you enjoying the weekend so far?
It's a great weekend. It's good to be out here again. We always enjoy coming to Rickwood because we had many great moments that we recall out here.
Now you played with Willie Mays when he first came up. What do you think of the weekend in honoring him?
I think it's about time because during our time of playing here, there wasn't too much recognition for the black ball players. In fact, if you did a good job, it was hard to get your names in the paper or hit a home run or something. Didn't do too much.
How would you describe the atmosphere here in the 40s compared to what it is today?
Oh, man. It's 100% better. You know, during that time, they had laws where blacks and white couldn't play together, and there were all kind of segregated laws, but we knew what they were, so we didn't have to worry about it. We enjoyed coming out here playing, and when the white team was away, we played. So the whites came out to see us, and some of us went to see the white team.
We will be talking to you a little later. Thank you very much, Reverend.
Okay. Thank you so much, George. Well, the Reverend Bill Greason, one of 9 former Birmingham Black Barons who went on to play in the major leagues. We'll continue with more Black Barons baseball in a moment.
What would you change about your full-size truck?
Change the way the door opened. Probably more room in the back, a little bit more leg room. Kind of hard to get out of the back side because the doors are not big enough.
We couldn't change their trucks, so we introduced ours, the full-size Nissan Titan. Now with $2,750 cash back or 1% financing. See your Nissan dealer and check out the Titan's wide-open rear doors and big interior.
It opens all the way. This is a whole lot easier. Wow, I didn't know it opened that big. This is roomy now.
At eHarmony, our process is designed to elicit your true self and then match you based on who you are at the very deepest dimensions.
Everybody puts up walls. eHarmony breaks through that to get to the base level compatibility.
She gets me. Nobody really has ever gotten me before.
Mike sees me better than I see myself sometimes.
Experience the power of love based on true compatibility. It starts with your compatibility profile. A $50 value, yours free. eHarmony.com.
Duke UNC. This is the greatest rivalry in basketball. Before they clash again this season, take a ride down Tobacco Road for some of their greatest games ever. Tobacco Road Marathon, part of ESPNU Full Circle, starts 1 p.m. Saturday on ESPN Classic.
Hi, I'm Magic Johnson. Welcome to the fundamentals of basketball.
To be the best, you have to learn from the best. That's why basketball legend Magic Johnson has assembled the greatest team of all-star players and coaches to help players everywhere improve their skills and knowledge of the sport. The Magic Fundamentals comprehensive video is filled with everything you need to know to increase your points, assists, rebounds, and understanding of the game of basketball.
We all are looking to get better, and this tape will make you better if you practice the drills over and over again. You don't have to go to camp. I'm bringing camp right to you.
You won't find the Magic Fundamentals DVD in stores. It's only available by calling the 800 number on your screen or by visiting our website. Order now and we'll include the Magic Fundamentals 16-page color booklet, complete with Magic's 7-day workout at no additional cost. That's over 2 hours of basketball instruction on 2 DVDs, plus the color insert for the incredible low price of 2 payments of only $19.99. Call now or go to our website and start your program today.
Welcome back, everyone, to ESPN Classic Vintage Live. Negro League Baseball presented by Jordan Brand. We now move to the 4th inning. Well, Birmingham in the 40s was not an easy place for blacks to live. Separate but equal didn't work. But there was always 4th Avenue and Rickwood Field.
The Black Barons had their heyday, all right. And they still talk about it today.
So coming to Rickwood to see the Black Barons play? Man, you're uptown.
How would you like to refer to it?
4th Avenue was hardly a stone's throw from City Hall, but few white folks ventured there. It was the heart of the self-contained, thriving black business community. Barbecue stands, pool rooms, soft drink parlors, barber shops. Laughter spilled out into the streets.
We had a big restaurant there called Bob Savoy. He was a supporter of us. They had a club upstairs if we wanted to party.
And the party spilled over to Rickwood Field.
And I remember going to Alabama, playing in Birmingham. We would play, like, do a small concert. You got B.B. King and the game. People would dance, and they would be on a high before the game started.
The Barons' success inside Rickwood seemed to mirror that of the larger black community. For the players and the fans of Birmingham, their world was separate and unequal. But here, in this place, they could be themselves. And the pride ran deep.
We have played 3 innings here at Rickwood Field, and we have enjoyed what we have seen so far. Alongside Billy Sample, Chuck D, I'm Eric Collins, and this half inning we're going to have Shelly Stewart joining us. And you kind of, you're the Renaissance man in these parts. You know exactly what happened here at Rickwood Field, and what was it like in 1940s Birmingham to get a chance to come to this ballpark and experience the Black Barons?
I'm too young to answer that. Oh, man, listen, in the 40s, it was a little different because you didn't come out here only on certain days, you know. In the 40s, you came out here only on the Black Barons Day, or you sat in the coal bin with the Barons.
In terms of what it was like in conjunction with 4th Avenue. I know 4th Avenue was such a big deal.
4th Avenue was just a busy place here. When you went to 4th Avenue, you had it all. The Bob Savoys, the Royal Buck Club, barbecue, plenty of dancing. Maybe it was the bomb, as the kids say now.
Who are some of the people that you would have seen when you went to a Black Barons games in terms of the entertainers? I know Lena Horne used to come every once in a while.
You would see everyone here. I mean, if you came into Birmingham, you came to Rickwood Field. Whether it be Red Fox, whether it be Quincy Jones or Ray Charles, you came to Rickwood. This was it, baby.
Shelly, was it safe to travel through parts of Birmingham?
Oh, certainly. It was safe to travel through parts of Birmingham. It's according to what time of day you traveled, of course. Some places you wouldn't come in there, get caught after sundown, but it was fine. Traveling in Birmingham, you knew exactly where you had to go, so you acted accordingly. It was just what you've seen so much about Birmingham. Then some of it's true, some of it's not true.
Yeah, well, with that backdrop, because I was reading the Birmingham News today and saw a lot of the pictures from the Freedom Riders days. So I just wondered what was it like here in Birmingham compared to other places. And I grew up in Virginia, so it's not like it was not in the South.
Well, you had Birmingham was the South, and they let you know that it was the South. No question about it. No sense in putting any icing on it. It was what it was then. You knew exactly where you were supposed to go or where you're not to go here. But
have you seen it change from?
Oh, Birmingham has changed tremendously. Birmingham is not what people would see yesteryear.
Okay.
Birmingham is about to like Virginia, where you grew up, as a matter of fact, or whether you went in Detroit. So Birmingham has changed just as other parts of the country have changed.
One out now here in the top half of the fourth inning. On at first base is Tom Rizzo, who began this frame with a solid single to left center field. Cy Hess bats for the third time, and he swings and misses that toss from Bo McGee, who's still in the game.
One thing I noticed that in some of the photos, that whenever you saw a team or even musicians have a bus, they sure enough celebrated in the photo. So when you saw the Birmingham Black Barons bus come through town, that means it was
stars. I mean, you were stars. Birmingham was a great baseball city. As a matter of fact, you had the Corners, Steele, Pacifico. Every little area had its ball team. So although many of these guys, if you made the Birmingham Black Barons, you really were a star when you made it that. But in Birmingham on Saturdays and Sundays, every community had people going out to ballparks. You just had that type of competition here. So many blacks who never made it to the Black Barons were super baseball players.
Yeah, the industrial leagues, every mill, every steel mill, iron, they had their own teams, and that's basically where the talent was grown that became Black Barons.
Absolutely. That's the way the Birmingham Black Barons, they came from Corner Steel or Sipco or Stockham, the little community teams such as Rosedale. So every little area had a team, and that's where the Birmingham Black Barons came.
When Negro League baseball started to fade out, of course, when Jackie Robinson made the jump to the big leagues in 1947, and that kind of spelled the end for Negro League baseball, the final Negro League World Series being played in 1948. What was the feeling around Birmingham knowing that the Black Barons were becoming obsolete pretty quickly?
It was not good, believe me, because the Birmingham Black Barons, these guys who were playing ball in these communities, were looking for a place to play and maybe go to the Black Barons and then to the pros. Well, if there were no Black Barons, there was no way out. You were stuck in the community, so certainly it did affect those community teams as well.
So was it almost, I'd imagine you're rooting for Jackie Robinson, you're rooting for Joe Black, Larry Doby, Willie Mays, and those type of guys, but also in a certain extent in your own backyard, it's making baseball less of a viable option here and locally.
Yes, but you would realize when Willie Mays came to town, everyone celebrated because Willie Mays came from Birmingham, the Black Barons from the community. So you said, Willie Mays made it, but who else can get out of here? How can we get out of here now? There's no Black Barons, there's no vehicle. You can't play with the Birmingham Barons as it was. Maybe one of two Negroes at that time were able to play at the Barons, so you really didn't have a way out. Great athletes stuck here, so that's the way it was.
Brother Stewart, what do you see, what's being done to kind of like continue to introduce the legacy of Rickwood Field and the Birmingham Black Barons to a younger crowd today, or younger people who might be a little bit far off from understanding how important baseball is to our community?
Very good question. One is Birmingham, Alabama did not know the significance of Rickwood Field. They really did not understand what this field was all about, the great history here. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, but it was still history of Birmingham, Alabama. So as Rickwood grew, the Black Barons gone, so what about Rickwood? It was, in my opinion, when someone suggested tearing it down. I was on the park board here at that time, and someone said, we're going to tear Rickwood down. I could not let that happen. I asked the Board of Education here if they would take Rickwood for $1 a year for 90 years. and save it, to park the buses and put the athletic department in here. And that deal came about. And then the Friends of Rickwood were formed to keep Rickwood open. So it was significant. First, you got to realize the significance of Rickwood Field, which I think now is the oldest stadium of its kind in the United States of America. So it's important that we first teach people the history of this so we can possibly draw people to it. Baseball is not what it was here.
You have a new pitcher in the game for the Birmingham Black Barons. Corey Lima comes on to replace Bo McGee, who did a fantastic job striking out 4 in a little over 2 innings of work. Corey Lima spent some time playing professional baseball in the Florida Marlins chain.
For $1 a year, you must have had some pictures on someone, didn't you?
No. It was not that hard. I think there were others who really wanted Rickwood to remain. So that's what happened. That wasn't.
And Rickwood's still in use frequently nowadays.
Yes. The Friends of Rickwood are doing a tremendous job in keeping activity out here.
They have high school games here.
Yes.
They have high school tournaments. I know the Birmingham Barons, the AA team of the Southern League, they play at least one game here every year.
Yes, so there's activity here. And I certainly want this field to remain here forever, as a matter of fact.
Something off speed. Lima fools. Clark caught him. And the count is now 1-2.
With all the rich history of the Negro Leagues here in Birmingham, is it surprising that it's taken this long to get behind a museum for the Alabama Negro Leaguers?
No, it's not surprising. One is exclusion. We've left so much out of our history that we did not want to talk about. It did not surprise us at all. But those individuals who had that, the dreams to say, listen, we can't let this history just die and become a buried treasure. And that's what really happened. And to see Clayton Sherrod and others and Bill Greasom and those who are involved in this to say, let's make it happen. And certainly ESPN Classic is just great.
Willie Mays next half. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner on at second, 2 outs. Lima delivers. Called strike 3. Corey Lima comes out of the bullpen and strikes out. First man he faces. That'll do it for the top half of the 4th inning. Leadoff single by Tom Rizzo goes by the wayside. No runs, a base hit, nobody left on. We have played 3.5 as we move to the home half of the 4th inning. It's the Bristol Barnstormers 4, the Birmingham Black Barons 3.
Listen up. This is Darren. He's the newest member of the league.
Whoa, hold up. What can he do?
Can he fly?
No.
You got superhuman strength though, right?
Come on, man. You got to be able to do something. Levitate, go through walls, stop.
I can do one thing.
Well, let's see it.
You can room with me.
Sweetheart Brownie Blast. Sonic's got it, others don't. Treat your sweetheart to the sweet taste of chocolate brownies and cherries blended into a creamy frozen treat. Sonic's new Sweetheart Brownie Blast. And now swipe a credit or My Sonic card from your car. Only at Sonic.
How well does your manual brush clean? Introducing Crest Spin Brush Pro Clean. It cleans up to 70% more plaque in hard-to-reach places, getting what an ordinary manual brush can leave behind. Crest Spin Brush Pro Clean.
Avis Preferred member Mike Plotzker, space C2. Don't forget your bags and your love of adventure.
Excuse me?
This is Mike Thunderpants Plotzker, the occasional base jumper, Jello wrestler, the guy who likes to smear cream cheese all over.
Whoa.
Too far?
Yeah.
Sure. You may be here for a meeting, but there's a hang gliding place just off Route 9.
Avis Preferred Service. Skip the counter, go straight to your car. Have more time to do what you want.
Oh,
no! Just another way we try harder.
The #1 site for independent music. Now, get 25 free iPod compatible downloads just for trying us out.
2001.
The Stanley Cup Home half of the fourth inning, the Bristol Barnstormers on top of the Birmingham Black Barons 4-3 in a game being played circa 1948. Well, now, without further ado, we have a very special guest. This is going to be special. Standing by with George Smith is Willie Mays. George, take it away.
Yes, indeed. We have Willie Mays, Jim Zapp, and the Reverend Bill Greason on the end here. And let me start with you, Willie. I just want to know what your first impressions are when you walk into this ballpark today.
Well, first of all, I was kind of at awe because of people here in February, January, whatever it may be, because it's cold around here, you know. But I wouldn't have missed this for anything in the world because these are the guys that helped me get to the majors, and I think it was a blessing that at a young age, 16, 17, that I didn't get in trouble because the guys that was here helped me, you know, to make sure that I stay focused on everything that I did. So it was just a pleasure for me to just come and enjoy what I had to do.
Tell us a little bit about how important the Negro Leagues were in your major league career.
Well, first of all, I learned how to control myself. Like, for instance, when I went to the majors, it was something similar. Like Chicago, St. Louis, and Cincinnati, we couldn't stay with the guys, but that didn't bother me because I had already been programmed with these guys to make sure that whatever came up, I just had to stay focused and go out and play, and that's what I did because then I never had a problem as far as hitting home runs or catching the ball, whatever, you know.
You grew up in this area, segregated times, a different era now. Do the positives from those years outweigh the negatives in your mind?
I think so because luckily everybody knew me here, you know, from playing ball, not only just here. I played in Fairfield and played with a team called the Great Sox. And I was kind of like a star on the ball club. And Piper Davis at one time, Artie Wilson came out to see me play. And they played a special game for me, and that was fun. Because now here's the guys in what we call the majors because that's all we could, you know, do at that time. They came out and they played, you know, my team, the Great Sox, and they had me at short. And I said, man, the ball is coming too quick for me. So they Piper switched me from short to center field. Then I could play. I relaxed a little bit. I hit a long fly ball, which I thought was a home run, but the guy caught it. So Piper signed me in the next couple of weeks. So I was very, very gracious to have a lot of the guys embrace me because when I came to Black Barons, they all make sure that I, again, didn't get in trouble. I was still in high school, so I didn't know anything about, you know, traveling things. We rode on the bus, and it was fun for me. You know.
How important is it to have a day like this to celebrate all of you guys?
Well, I think it's more important sometimes to them for me to come back and be a part of what they are involved in. And that's why I wanted to come back. I'm in spring training right now with the Giants, but I told them I gotta be in Birmingham. I gotta be where I felt that it was important to me. Well, spring training to me right now is not that important because I'm not playing. But I told them, I said, hey, I gotta go in Birmingham. I gotta be there. I want to make sure that the guys understand I really, really appreciate what they did for me over the years, and I think it's shown. You see people out here that I didn't think nobody was going to show up, man. It was, again, it was cold, but they showed up. And I think the ballpark is going to be, blessed a little bit because some of the revenue probably go for refurbishing the ballpark, you know.
I want to bring in a couple of your friends here. Reverend Greason, I want to put you on the spot. Who's the best baseball player you ever saw?
Willie Mays.
You're not just saying that, are you?
Why it take so long?
Yeah, I'm serious about it. He's one of the best I saw play and played against. In fact, we played not only here, but we played in the Puerto Rican League where some of the best ball players, Clemente and Vic Powers and some of the others, and Mays was outstanding. Of course, when he came here as a rookie, we were rookies together. The three of us were rookies on this team together, and we helped this team here in Birmingham to win the pennant and get in the Negro World Series. And he was one of the best that I've seen play. He had everything. You could catch, throw, run, whatever, and he finally learned how to hit. So he was a complete ball player.
Tell me how much this day means to you.
Well, it means a lot to me to see my friend. He invited me to San Francisco, I believe in the year 2000, when they dedicated that statue in front of the new stadium. He remembered me and invited me to come out, and I had a blessed time being out there with him. And I was just happy that he came to be with us, because we are trying now to get a museum here in Birmingham to put some of this memorabilia in that we have before we leave the scene, you know, die. And they better hurry up, because you see, there's about 100, nearly 200 years right here.
That's right.
And you better hurry up and do something.
Mr. Zapp, let me bring you in. By the way, I should say, one of the most feared hitters in the Negro Leagues at the time. Isn't that right about Mr. Zapp?
I don't know. I didn't have to face it.
Don't believe everything you hear.
I want to ask you, just can you describe what the atmosphere was like in this ballpark on a typical Sunday afternoon?
Ooh, it's outstanding, you know, just so many people. Sellouts just every Sunday, 10, 11,000 people. And we just enjoyed playing in Birmingham. We loved it. We loved it. And speaking of the greatest ball players, I think he's the greatest ball player ever lived, greatest all-around ball player ever lived. I have that argument with a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine about that. But he is outstanding.
Anybody else in his class?
No.
Whose argument came from?
There's only one guy. One guy I think could have come close to him. He'd taken care of it himself. It was Mickey Mantle. But he didn't take care of himself. Amazing to see. Willie's never been a dissipator. So he was always in shape to play.
Yeah, we made sure of that.
Yeah, we took care. He was the baby. He was the baby of the team.
Yeah.
Willie, I'm curious. Your godson has talked a little bit about maybe retiring this year. What's your advice to him?
Don't believe it.
Don't believe it?
No. He's making $22 million. Where is he going to retire? No. He's a kid that loves to have you guys talk. Now, you're talking about that like he's going to quit tomorrow. He's laughing at home. So don't believe all that, Chuck. I'll see him next week. I haven't seen him. I left the day before he came. So when I go back tomorrow, he'll be there and wonder where have you been? What me? I'm not playing. You're the one playing. So he's a good kid, you know. But sometimes he can rub you wrong now, as you well know. You know, so he's fine.
Have you shared any thoughts with him about the end of your career, the end or retiring at all?
I don't talk to him about his personal life. If you want to retire, that's him, but I don't think so. Myself, I think he's got a shot at, coming close to Aaron. I think he's going to get Ruth this year without any doubt. I think I would never quit on a sour note like that. I would try and do my best as far as a home run, even if I had to try and hit a home run every time I went to the bat. So that's why I think he's going to play. I think he's a proud kid in baseball, and he wants to do good at all levels. So even though he's 41 or 42 right now, so I think he's going to do very well.
He's so close to Ruth's record. How much would you like to see him pass Ruth and Hank Aaron?
No, I think he's going to pass Ruth this year. Hank, he's not going to get this year because they're not going to pitch to him that much. He gets 200-some walks a year. It would be nice for him to do that, and then if you want to retire, go ahead and do it then. But I think he got a shot at Ruth. If he gets 30 home runs or more this year, that's going to be fine. Then next year he doesn't have really a big target to shoot at. So that's the next year coming up. So I think he's just all talk now.
How hungry do you think he is to get those records?
Talking to him sometime, he's not really hungry. He's a guy that just take day to day by playing. He doesn't try and take a week at a time, a month at a time. He just take day to day and whatever comes up. Sometimes I said to him, year before last, he hit 5 or 6 home runs in a row. He takes off Sunday. I said, no, you want to play because you're on a roll, man. Still play. But he take Mondays off, Sundays off, and he's off Monday. Come back Tuesday, start hitting home runs again. He's an amazing type of a hitter. So I won't be surprised if he doesn't get Hank. I wouldn't be surprised unless he just say, hey, I quit,
When you think of players like yourself and Babe Ruth and Aaron and DiMaggio, where does Barry fit in that hierarchy?
Right there. he could do. When Barry wanted to do it, if you look at the stolen bases, he got that. The only thing that I see in Barry right now is the arm. That's why I think they moved him from center field to left field because he didn't have the strong arm. But name me anything else. He can run. He can field. He is for average. It's just nothing he can do on the field. So that's the only thing I see that maybe might be have a little flaw in his thinking is just throwing.
And what do you think his legacy will be to this game?
Boy, that's not up for me to say because I know he's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm sure of that. It's just he's got to wait 5 years. I think he wants that, and I think he will get that. But the legacy, I think, it depends on the writers, depends on the fans. You don't look for that. It's like myself. I didn't look to be have people talk about me the way they do. I never thought they would ever do that. Coming from, Birmingham, going to the majors and playing 20 years, you just happy to play the 20 years and get out of there, But you got to keep yourself clean. That's number one, and that's what I did over the years when I played. But of course, when you have, like I say, a family like he came from, he had his father, Bobby, play with me for quite a while, and he did very well. Then he had an uncle that played. He got myself that played. So he came from a family that really looked for sports to thrive on, and that's what he does,
One more quick question for all of you. Just how important, how much fun, I should say, are you guys having this weekend?
All that we want to.
a bunch of fun. It's always fun to see.
Well, it's always good to get together with the fellas. The kind of fun we have is kind of personal thing. We talk about things that happen and reminisce a little bit, and it helps us to really enjoy being in each other's company. Willie and I went to Puerto Rico in '54 when they won the series, and we won the Caribbean Series down there. We had a ball club that, what do you think, would have cost about $100 million or more for those players?
Well, you came by, what he's talking about, we had a club that we had Clemente in right and left. He played left then, not right. Mm-hmm. Then I was in center. Then they had a guy named Bob Thurman in right. Then they had another one called Clarkson in third, but really hit. Don Zimmer was the shortstop. Ronnie Sanford was the second baseman. George Crow. I don't know. So you may not know all these
names. Some
of
these I do know.
Yeah, I know. But you're so young.
I've been studying.
Well, get your book. When you see this film clip, you get your book because these guys could play. And then you had another one, Harry Cheedy, which was a catcher. The pitching staff was tremendous. We had Sam Jones. You heard of Sam Jones. Mm-hmm. Sad Sam Jones. You heard of that. Okay. So then we had Greason. We had Ruben Gomez. You heard of him. That kid by the name of Pete Burnside. And we went to the Caribbean Series. They thought Cuba was going to kill us. We went there underdogs, and we loved that because I went 0 for 12, my first 0 for 12. I got a base hit off of Munzan, a home run, beat him. Then I went 14 for 15 to win the most valuable player. It just was a team effort on what we did in winter ball, and all the guys didn't know each other. We was just there to have fun, and that's what we did. We always went together at night so nobody could get hurt. Again, they didn't let me do anything. They taken me out. They made sure I got to bed on time. But one thing that was amazing that the owner said, okay, you come down with me. When we get to a game and a half, you go home to New York, because I was tired, because I had played in the World Series. I was the most valuable player and everything. And he says, when you get down to a game and a half, you go home. And I did. He said, now you have to watch the paper. When we lose, let's say we were up 5 games, and we get down to a game and a half again, you had to be on the plane. So what I did, I watched the paper every day, and when it got down to a game and a half, I was on the plane. I get there that night, usually like 12 o'clock at night. I play the next day, no practice, no nothing. I didn't need that. because I was young and I didn't know you had to practice to play. I thought you just go out and hit home runs and continue on. So I was kind of amazed at how these guys could stay so focused on when I leave. They put Clemente in center field when I left, and then put somebody else out in right and left field. Doesn't make any difference who's out there because they have such a great hitting team. So I enjoy that because that was my first full year out of the service. I enjoyed what we were doing. Even when I came back from New York, it was like I never left. They all hugged me and they, wished me well. It wasn't like, hey, why are you going to New York and we still here playing? It was nothing like that. And I was amazed how they could do such a thing, and treat me so nice. And that's why when you ask me a question, why are you here? Why am I here? Because I was asked to come here and I wanted to come here. So it was great, I think.
What do you miss most about these guys?
Like Greason was saying, talking, reminiscing about different things that we did and different things that where we go and the cards that we played in the back. He never played, but I did.
You learned to cheat too.
Yeah.
He learned from a professional. So
yeah, we had a guy named Alonzo Perry. He was good.
Very good.
Very good. And he tried to make me deal from the bottom, but I didn't know how to do that because he had long fingers. And he could go on the bottom and get them, and I don't know how to do all that.
But he never did lose.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So why was I going to play him? So when you ask me what we talk about, all kinds of stuff, that we talk about, but all positive stuff. Nothing against anybody on the team. It's always, we're going to do this together. We're going to play together. And I learned that when I, got to the majors. I was just focused on playing every day and focusing on what a team would do, not just me. I knew I was going to hit my 30 home runs or more, but what those other guys going to do? And that's what I try and do all the time,
Given all that you went through when you were here in Birmingham, what's it like for you to look out and see the diversity of the crowd out there today?
Well, first of all, you look at the whites and black playing together. That didn't happen when I was here. That to me is great. You look in the stands and you see white and black sitting in the stand. That's great. You see the counters are full up. It doesn't make any difference who's there. That's great. All the things I had when I was here have changed so much. I stayed at a place when I first came back about 10 years ago on Green Spring, and we never could go up in that area. So I went up there just to see what was happening. You know me, I just try anything. So I went there and I said, I'd like to buy a 2-bedroom apartment. Oh, come on in, Willie, how you doing? I didn't know that people know me, So they says, hey, come on in. They sold me the apartment. I had no problem at all. When I wanted to sell it, they sold it for me. I had no problem. So when you ask me what have changed or what do you see, there's a lot of changes here for thinking, it's all good. All good changes. You look around and you see people going to the same schools. I went to a hospital here for my eyes. I had a problem with my eyes. You see more blacks and white there together sitting there, and you see the doctors coming in with the white coats on. Most of them are all black. So everything was just positive as far as I was concerned,
Okay. You guys enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you very much for the time.
How much we getting paid?
You got to talk to my bosses about that. Eric, let's go back to you. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Thank you so much, George. I'm sure that is a real treat for you. The greatest living ball player, Willie Mays, holding court.
Absolutely priceless. It was just priceless. 14 for 15, Eric.
Sure he was, and didn't need to practice.
Just those stories. I would think that's what you miss, because when do you get an opportunity to hear Willie Mays hold court like that, as you described it, Eric?
I think the three of them, it gets to the point where it's almost telepathic. And so you feel like you're intrusive even by interviewing them about them. And they'll tell you, they had that look on their face like, boy.
Let me tell you how it was back in the day.
In case you missed it, we've had some activity as Matt March serves that one into right field. Solid single. 1 run will score. And that'll make it a 6-3 Bristol lead. Bristol Barnstormers taking on the Birmingham Black Barons. This is Vintage Baseball Live, presented by Jordan. We are here at Rickwood Field, the oldest ballpark in the country, built back in 1910, alongside Billy Sample with Chuck D. I'm Eric Collins. You just saw George Smith talking with Jim Zapp, with Willie Mays, with the Reverend Bill Greason. We're having a fantastic time. We're turning the clocks back. It is 1948, a game in which the Birmingham Black Barons would have played in the Negro American League back then. They were the Negro American League pennant winners in 1948. Fantastic legacy. Willie Mays played on that team that was an electric performance team. They won 55 games and lost just 21, and Willie Mays was 16 years of age on that team. He went to high school at Fairfield High School, and then he would play baseball for the Black Barons over the weekends. Can you imagine Billy being 16 years of age? You're obviously a high-level baseball player. You played 8 years of baseball in the big leagues. Can you imagine playing this level baseball as a 16-year-old?
The short answer is no. And you know just how good he was and some of the other Black Barons that played in the major leagues. In fact, Artie Wilson, we understand from the banquet the other night.
And we're going to have a double play, guys.
That Artie's not in good health. We certainly wish him the best.
So the inning ends. Corey Lima gets out of it after giving up just 1 run. Our score is now 6-3, and we keep talking about Willie Mays and what a special player he was for the Birmingham Black Barons. Well, for a little bit more, let's take a look.
Long before he became the Say Hey Kid, before he transformed the game with his grace and power, Willie Mays patrolled the outfield at Birmingham's Rickwood Field, only a few short miles from his boyhood home. Mays arrived in 1947 as a slick-fielding but light-hitting teenager. He helped the Black Barons make it to the last Negro League World Series in 1948. They lost that series, but Mays did not go unnoticed.
I had to stay in school. I played on the weekends. So I played Saturday and Sunday when school was in. When school was out, I would go on the road with them. It was just a rewarding time for me.
The Boston Red Sox had a shot at signing Mays and could have paired him with Ted Williams in the outfield at Fenway, but they passed. The New York Giants came to Birmingham in 1950 looking for a first baseman, but found a kid in center with a cannon of an arm. The Giants paid $15,000 for Mays, with $10,000 going to the Black Barons. In a few years, the best player in the major leagues was a black man.
We all love and enjoy our pets, but the biggest problem is hair everywhere. Get PetVac and get rid of that hair. PetVac makes grooming fun. Pets actually enjoy PetVac. Tired of all the grooming gadgets and the mess? No matter how much brushing you do, there's hair left. PetVac's flexible grooming brush attaches to an extra long suction hose. Hair is carried through the hose to where your PetVac is hooked into your vacuum in another room. Pets aren't scared. They don't see the vacuum or hear the noise. No hair accumulates on the grooming brush, and when the collector is full, you simply empty it. Use PetVac at bath time. It works dry and wet. After the bath, suction off all the moisture and the loose hair. No time for a bath? Try our optional fruit-scented waterless shampoo. Dry bath also cleans cats and other water-sensitive pets. Takes less than 5 minutes, softens their coat, and leaves a pleasant fruity scent. Grooming is vital, especially for cats. PetVac is guaranteed to prevent hairballs. Accidents happen. Paper towels just push them in further. PetVac's optional wet extraction tool can suction them right out. Then, with hot water, you can rinse your carpet. PetVac is a must for house training. Use PetVac's optional drain tool to unclog sinks and bathtubs. The PetVac Pet Health Book helps get maximum benefit from grooming. Call the toll-free number on your screen. PetVac normally sells for $49.95. With this offer, it's just $29.95. But wait! Order now and receive our hair magnet tool. The suction, combined with the cross-aligned lint brushes, eats up pet hair from furniture, car seats, clothes, and more. And it's free with this offer. This whole PetVac package, worth over $75, is just $29.95. But you must order now. PetVac is backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Petback is not sold in stores.
Leading off for the Black Barons. The good times continue to roll here at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. We move to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Bristol Barnstormers have come in to the oldest ballpark in the world and have doubled their pleasure over the Black Barons. They're on top 6-3.
Still maintaining their swing. Swings on the field, swing on the top of the dugout.
You're Mr. Segway. You're the one.
You know, about Willie Mays, reading that book in the 5th grade, I'm going to go back to that I remember reading about Alonzo Perry, who he had talked about in that sit-down. And he was that first baseman that the Giants were looking at on the Black Barons, and they found Willie Mays, that strong-armed center fielder, 16.
When you think of 5'2" players, do you think of Willie more than anybody else in the game?
Exceptional at all 5 of those facets.
Right.
Running, throwing, fielding, hitting for average, and power. Top 5 player in virtually every one of those categories.
And just also in asking yourself, Eric and Billy, is power something that usually comes later on? And when you see it in somebody young, you know, that's really rare and exceptional. When a person fills out, I mean, does power come with it? Do they lose bat speed? I mean, what happens?
That's a good point, because he was the MVP in 1954 and in 1965, so he continued his power through a decade or through 11 years.
Well, these fences here at Rickwood, they befuddled him to a certain extent. His first year playing for the Black Barons, as a 16-year-old, albeit, he hit .262 on the year, but had just 1 home run. Hard to believe that Willie Mays would ever play a baseball season and have just 1 home run next to his name by the time the campaign came to an end.
What is it in center? 470?
Right, it was a bomb. Yeah, it's a bomb.
That's a cab ride. That's not a bomb.
Yeah, cab ride for real.
Joseph Bynum getting his first at bat of the game. Lines one into left field, and he'll have to be played on a hop by John Skinner, who has just checked in defensively for the Bristol Barnstormers. So the leadoff man aboard here in the home half of the 5th inning for the Birmingham Black Barons. There's John Skinner.
Bynum tried to coax a walk out of the previous pitch. It was called a strike. And good for him, because he got a base hit.
Well, we keep talking about Willie Mays and how sensational he was as an early age and how everyone knew him here in Birmingham. My father grew up here in Birmingham, in Ensley, just down the road. And the Willie Mays that he is familiar with is Willie Mays Sr., who I guess was a fantastic ball player. My dad's uncle played with Willie Mays Sr. on one of those industrial league teams, actually played for the Wire Mill team. So my dad has memories of Willie Mays Sr. and how electric a performer he was. And obviously he didn't get the opportunity that his son Willie Mays did to play in the big leagues.
So what you're trying to tell us is that you've got game.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we keep talking about Willie Mays and Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds and how that talent just runs in those circles. But the talent began even earlier than that with Willie Mays Sr.
On another note, I would also guess to believe in the industrial leagues, just the rapport and the perks of the neighborhood would just go hand in hand together, where I would guess a lot of players really didn't want to leave. You know, hey, you know, if you feel comfortable at home, if you're a star on one of those teams, you know, like, hey, you know, how better can it get? You know where you can go, you know the places that you like to go, you know who you could trust, and you stay home and you play ball. And I guess a lot of ball players probably didn't want to venture off. I know it seems in retrospect, looking back in hindsight, people are like, oh, they didn't want to leave the South, but you know what you know.
And take it to another level, sometimes in the Pacific Coast League, guys would stay there instead of going to the major leagues, because they could make more money in the PCL and the minor leagues than they could in the major leagues back in the 50s and 60s.
And get to Southern California and say, wow. I can imagine, you know, Southern California in the 40s and the 50s playing baseball, and you're close to Hollywood. You know, I guess a hidden secret to the rest of the league back east.
Joseph Bynum on to first base.
Excuse me, Hollywood Stars. Teams out that way. Ted Williams started in the PCL.
Joe DiMaggio, San Francisco Seals.
Right.
Pitch misses a little bit inside. to Clarence Swain. Swain hitting against Richard Petrillo for the Bristol Barnstormers. Petrillo working his second inning, coming out of the bullpen for Jim Bouton's club.
We saw that shot earlier hit by Rackley. And I think with that and Johnson's hit off the wall, that's been the long ball. So I guess it's been
small ball,
right?
Some of the hitters before the game when we were talking to them really lamenting about the weather, that is going to be a little cold in the 50s and probably now in the 40s.
There goes the runner. Pitch misses inside and not nearly in time to get Bynum, who steals second base.
But it certainly hasn't appeared to hurt anybody this afternoon. They're swinging the bat. We were saying earlier, though, if you're catching once or twice a week, it's going to be difficult to, you can tell he had to wind up a little bit. Anybody with speed that gets maybe 4 steps before the pitcher releases the ball should have a stolen base.
No glove love at this time, you know, still at the plate, right? You know, you know how the batting gloves. So I guess this is where the gloves really come in handy, you know. Later innings of the game, you know, the sun is going down. It's getting a little cooler. Give me a batting glove and a little bit of warmth. Jacket here or there.
3-1 pitch, wrapped hard but foul.
Either you guys ever, when you're playing ball, have one of those at bats where you hit it off the end of the bat, or you get jammed, you can still feel it sting the next time you come to the plate?
I don't have much experience on hitting it. Maybe holding the bat, so I'm not going to feel that same sting.
Who got in on you real well, Billy?
Oh, gee, who didn't get in on me real well, Eric? Let me think. I do remember one time getting a base hit in Detroit. We were sleeted out of the game opening the season, and my hands did sting the next plate appearance.
Pop up. It's going to be a tough play for the catcher, March, and he makes it. How about that? That catcher's equipment. That's some vintage gear, too. That's a difficult play to make with that type of catcher's glove he's using.
Play of the game?
How about that throw to third?
Yeah.
To keep the runner from advancing.
Not familiar with the surroundings, took a couple of glances, and almost immediately, as Chuck is alluding to, he's looking to make the throw to keep the base runner from advancing from second to third.
So a nice play by the catcher, Matt March. And there's now 1 out. And we're going to have a new pitcher come into the game for the Bristol Barnstormers. Replacing Petrillo, Brian Pinney is going to come on and throw. Pinney played his college ball at Hartford, which is the alma mater of Jeff Bagwell. I'd imagine he'd be the best player to ever come out of the University of Hartford. We'll catch the first pitch of the World Baseball Classic on ESPN2 Friday, March 3rd. First at 2 a.m. Eastern, Korea takes on Chinese Taipei. Then at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, China takes on Ichiro Suzuki and Japan. That's the World Baseball Classic telecast presented by Taco Bell on ESPN2 Friday, March 3rd. That's an early time to get up and watch some baseball, but it's going to be worth it. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I get to cover the Arizona part of it. 4 different groups, and that one starts earliest. The one in Tokyo, one in Scottsdale, and in Phoenix. They're going to play in both stadiums, Chase Park and in Phoenix as well, or in Scottsdale as well. And then there's a series opening up in San Juan and one in Orlando. And then the top 2 teams from each tier will play in the second round.
Nice and warm.
And Tokyo's inside, so.
Also, just talking earlier about defensive plays, Billy, Matt March earlier made that play where he leaped up and made that tag.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. So that's 2 of them for him. He looked like the Jordan logo when he made that tag, too.
So Corey Lima will grab a bat and hit for the first time today. Lima currently the pitcher in the game for the Birmingham Black Barons. Gets a chance to hit for himself. Runner on at second, lays down a bunt on a breaking ball, and it's a good one. Everyone's going to be safe. So Corey Coco Lima getting it done.
It's funny though, Eric, you hear a lot of major league coaches lament about the lack of talent in order to do the little things like bunting and hitting and running, but we've seen about 10 examples already, and we're only halfway through the game.
That was a nice bunt, placed perfectly by Lima, so they're going to give him a base hit. Runners on at the corners, and a big fly ties it up. There's Corey Lima on at first base. Spent a lot of time playing independent baseball in both the Northeast League and in the Northern League. And look at that, guys. That's vintage gear right there. Those are the face masks that the umpires wore back in 1948.
Are we sure that a baseball can't get through there?
That's Charles McElroy calling the balls and strikes. Just a two-person crew. McElroy behind home plate. Damian Beal is the base umpire. Andre Hamby has come on to pinch run at first base for Corey Lima. As the first pitch gets away from the catcher, and Hamby on his horse gallops into scoring position. He checks in at second. I'd imagine you're going to have to call that one. Pass ball?
I would imagine, but we've seen a lot of those, so evidently the 1948 gloves are taking the catchers a little time to get used to.
Yeah. Pardon my mental block. Do umpires today still wear the bow ties? I don't think so.
Another pitch gets away, and this one's going to go all the way to the backstop. Hamby was thinking about scoring all the way from second, but he'll stop at third. So the Black Barons will have to settle for just one run as Bynum scores the fourth run of the game for the Black Barons.
Hard slaughter gets away, and we had foreshadowed earlier the possibility that with all this room behind home plate to the backstop that some base runner might think about taking two in a situation like that, and Hamby had thought about taking two.
So just one out, a runner on at third. 2-0 is the count. Eric Johnson batting for the first time. Johnson played collegiately in the SWAC for Alcorn State.
And Hamby played at the same school that Rusty Greer played for. Texas Rangers outfielder.
Hard hit, but foul. Just foul down the right field line.
I just had to mention another Texas Ranger outfielder. I'm sorry. Who played hard, as Rusty did.
He did. He
probably
was always
too hard, actually.
It was nice to see Charlie Pride earlier today. Charlie Pride, so many people know him as just a fantastic country singer, but he was a groundbreaker in so many different levels. Of course, African-American country singer, that's still very rare. But he also played Negro League Baseball, both here in Birmingham and Memphis and also in Louisville.
And I told you when he worked out with us way back when the Rangers were in Pompano Beach, we had to run Charlie out of the batting cage.
He's getting his hacks in, huh?
Yeah, he would get his hacks. Charlie, you made the correct career decision. Now get out of the cage.
Well, from what we saw of him throwing the ceremonial first pitch, he should have been throwing BP.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, you're talking, what, 60 plus, maybe?
Hitting him where they ain't. Sam Nelms squirts it into right field. One run will score. On his way to third goes Johnson, and he's in with a feet first dive. Small ball played well. Runners still on the corners, but another one comes in. It's a one-run game. 6-5. Bristol on top, but Birmingham knocking on the door.
You can't throw some of this out as well as they're throwing it out. Right-handed hitter. First baseman on the bag, holding the runner, and there. And they're playing that first to third ball. They can play that all day.
So the troubles continue for the Bristol Barnstormers as DeGennaro Millhouse grabs a bat. There goes the runner into scoring position. A steal for Sam Nelms, putting runners on at second and at third. That's now 5 steals for Birmingham. And they're not hesitating.
No, they know from the start that they're going to run. It's taking a while to get rid of the ball behind the plate. So anybody with speed. And as I said earlier, you get 4 steps before the pitcher releases the ball, then you've got a stolen base.
DeGennaro Millhouse spent some time playing independent baseball after graduating from Alabama State. Played for the Hornets. Infield in tight. Little flare. Foul into the first row of seats.
I would guess if there's anything that the Negro League style of ball did was fill the game up with activity. You can't increase the time because there's no clock on the game, but within that time you can actually make it seem more active, you know, and that's the beauty about baseball, because within the time you build an element of timing. Very active, small ball, so to speak.
And it's funny sometimes because you can have speed, and speed can actually slow down the game.
Right.
Because you have to be more concerned with that speed.
Great point.
And how about this? You have the infield in the 5th inning.
2-2 pitch, didn't check his swing in time, went too far, and Millhouse strikes out. So that's a big out recorded for the Bristol Barnstormers. So there's now 2 outs, but the dangerous Kiefer Rackley steps to the plate. This is what he did in inning number 1.
They were working him away and trying to sneak a fastball in. He brought his hands in, but he got most of it and hit it a long way. I don't think Eric had any doubt when he left the bat to give it a home run call.
Yeah, that was smoked. Didn't think we were going to see that. Start him off with a bender. Takes it downstairs. Rackley played locally here at UAB. Also played professionally in the Seattle Mariners and the Kansas City Royals chains. So he's got a little bit of a resume going. And they're giving him nothing but off-speed stuff right now.
A little bit of a resume and a great day on TV.
We are seeing a very good brand of ball, though. You just mentioned all the colleges these kids are playing, or at least played for, and you know you're going to have people that can catch and throw.
Hard hit ball. Heck of a diving stop made by Cy Hess. Maybe that's the play of the game. It saved 2 runs. So the 5th inning draws to a close, but not before the Birmingham Black Barons scored 2 more runs. The Bristol Barnstormers still on top, but by the slimmest of margins. 6-5 is our score.
Love me or hate me, it's one or the other. Always has been. Hate my game, my swagger, hate my fadeaway, my hunger. Hate that I'm a veteran, a champion. Hate that. Hate it with all your heart. And hate that I'm loved for the exact same reasons.
Starting a new garden doesn't have to be backbreaking. Not when you have the Mantis Tiller Cultivator. It does all the hard work for you. The powerful 2-cycle engine spins the patented tines deep into the soil. It cuts through the hardest clay and tangled weeds, yet maneuvers nimbly through the tightest spaces. Now get this amazing Mantis at huge factory direct savings. Plus, we'll give you this border edger free. Call now for complete information.
1-800-754-0077.
1975.
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
Classic.
Hair loss used to be beyond your control, but at Hair Club for Men and Women, we offer all the latest proven treatments, and we'll give you a free consultation to determine which is right for you.
I changed my life. I can go swimming, I can play sports.
Thank you, Hair Club. You have made such a difference in my life.
You'll see me for non-surgical hair replacement.
And you'll see me for extreme hair therapy.
Or you'll see an experienced hair transplant physician.
Call this number now to get a free information booklet, a free consultation, and a free microscopic hair analysis. Don't let the bad hair genes get you down. Call now.
You were really something special. We knew it somehow. But baby, wow, look at you now.
1-800-597-8471. 1-800-597-8471.
Barnstormers on top of the Black Barons by 1 as we move to the 6th. Well, baseball here in Birmingham, like most everything else in these parts, was closely connected to steel and coal mills. The best players represented the mills where they worked in the industrial leagues. That theme was in mind when this year's club was put together.
It's going to be real competitive because they have a lot of guys on their team that played on the next level. No aluminum, we have to use wood bats. So I want to see you guys swinging it today. So, you know, put on the clinic for us.
Smack dab in the middle of Alabama, Birmingham has been called the Pittsburgh of the South.
Look two, look two, look two.
The steel companies that sprang up in the 1880s to mine the iron ore and coal under the hard Birmingham soil drew rural black workers from all over the South to the city for the first time.
You will be dressed in the 1930s, 1940s uniforms. Let's carry ourselves in a professional way because we are representing those guys.
Out of those factories grew industrial leagues, company-sponsored baseball teams. It was a rare break, offering black workers some relief from a life of low wages and stifling work conditions.
Every Saturday or Sunday afternoon, you went to the different ballparks in Birmingham. Sloss had their own ball team, and Sipco and Corner Steel, and they were good, man.
Let's go two, Sway. Look out now.
Many black barons got their start in the industrial leagues. The most important of these was Lorenzo Piper Davis, who arrived in 1943 and helped lead the Black Barons to 3 Negro American League championships. In 1946, Branch Rickey considered Davis as a candidate to break baseball's color barrier. While Piper never got a fair chance to make the majors, he did as the Black Barons player manager, groom a young outfielder, and taught him how to hit the curveball.
He talked to my father, made sure that I had money on the road, make sure that I didn't spend the money. Whatever I got, I had to send home. And I think that helped me tremendous not to get into trouble. He was like a second father to me.
Piper Davis, a huge part of Birmingham Black Baron history. He was the skipper on the 1948 Negro American League pennant winner down here in Birmingham.
And huge because he was 6'6".
No. He got the nickname of Piper because he's from Piper, Alabama. We talk about all the fantastic nicknames and how creative they were. That's probably not on the top of the list of the most creative nicknames, but it worked.
Yeah. Met his daughter yesterday at the Alabama Hall of Fame, where commemoration was taking place, and she had some stories to say about her father. Like she rambled through the household and found old uniforms, and you know, he called her Rambler. But you know, hey, you know, those are some of the things that's hanging up there, right at the Alabama Hall of Fame. A lot of ball players came through here. A lot of ball players.
2-1 pitch to Brian Penny. May have broken his bat. Little flare to left field, coming on and making a Willie Mays style basket catch. How about that, Eric Johnson?
It's always nice.
Always period nice. Catch right there.
It's always nice when you see ball players, you know, throw back and show some kind of nostalgia.
I get the feeling that Eric Collins felt that Eric Johnson's catch was very apropos. Basket catch, talking about Willie Mays.
And was looking in the stands, looking for Willie after he did that.
Almost as if this is choreographed. Cy Hess will bat for the 4th time today. He's 0 for 3. He struck out his last 2 times up.
That's a ball player's name, Cy Hess.
Corey Lima catches the inside part of the plate, and he's got Hess set up. 0-2.
And Eric, he has your #1 defensive player today.
He does. Tremendous diving stop. That saved 2 runs. This last half inning, runners on at second and third, and 2 outs, and he was able to dive to his right and make a catch of a sinking line drive off the bat of Kiefer Rackley. Corey Lima still feeling good. He's now got 3 strikeouts and quickly 2 down here in the 6th.
Yeah, Cy had to take that back to the dugout with him after the curveball inside, a fastball tailing away outside part of the plate. Good spot.
First ball swinging. Mike Bazilian grounds to the second baseman. And Swain up to the task. 3 up and 3 down. That's the way you get it done. We move to the home half of the 6th. Bristol on top of the Birmingham Black Herons by just 1. We'll come back to Rickwood Field, the oldest ballpark in the country, in just a moment.
I'm just like you. I work hard every day. Back pain or not, because I get big relief from the Icy Hot Back Patch.
Bigger than many ordinary patches. First, it's icy to dull the pain, then hot to relax it away. The Icy Hot Back Patch.
Count on it.
What do you know about computers?
My daughter definitely knows how to use a computer better than I do half the time, and she's 3.5.
Hi, I'm John Scher, CEO and founder of Video Professor. You know, I've been hearing comments like that for over 14 years now. Listen to this.
I did the Excel, and it was a lot of fun. I had a real good time. I learned a lot.
The difference, just an hour with one of my CDs, and they're easy to use. The CD plays like a video on your computer screen. Just follow the step-by-step instruction. If you call now, I'll send you one free. You just pay a small shipping and handling. Well, the reason I'll do this is because I know that once you try my product, you'll come back to us for all your computer learning needs. You know, if you can't learn, I'll even refund your shipping and handling. So, learn a new skill in less than an hour. Try my product.
I think that's the most fun I've had, learning something about the computer.
To get your free computer learning CD, you must call now. Call 1-800-478-9235.
Right now, a high-performance Dell XPS system with an Intel Pentium D processor with dual-core processing and a 17-inch ultra-sharp flat panel can be yours for only $999. And for a limited time, qualified XPS customers pay no interest for 12 months. XPS, the ultimate Dell PC.
Tonight on ESPN Classic. At 7, Sports Century profiles Baseball Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson. At 8, it's a Real Classics Extra, searching for Bobby Fischer. Then at 10, it's the greatest of all time in the fights and times of Muhammad Ali Part 1. Sports Century Jackie Robinson at 7, Real Classics Extra Bobby Fischer at 8, and the fights and times of Muhammad Ali Part 1 at 10. It's all tonight on ESPN Classic. Visit us on the web to get the complete ESPN Classic schedule.
Baseball, baseball, when baseball was just a game, but I still love it.
Welcome back, everybody, to ESPN Classic Vintage Live. Negro League Baseball presented by Jordan Brand. We are retracing the footsteps of the 1948 Black Barons. Well, baseball is a game full of tradition and history, and that history doesn't die off anymore. History can now be recreated.
A couple of years ago, I put together a vintage club, and I really saw a need for someone to provide equipment. We make baseballs, gloves, caps, and uniforms. I saw this great photograph here of Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth wearing their barnstorming uniforms from the day. Bustin' Babes and the Larapin Lou's. I don't know what Larapin means. This kind of was the inspiration to design the Bristol uniform. You know, I think you can see a lot of influence. You got rolls of fabric that come in. The patterns or markers are laid on top of the fabric, and then each section of the uniform is then cut. Typical uniform could have as many as 50 to 75 different pieces of fabric.
I actually enjoy wearing the vintage uniforms a lot more. I like the baggy look. I like the longer sleeves.
The minute I put my uniform on, the feeling that I had was something that I never felt before, even when I got drafted playing pro baseball.
When I put on the vintage uniform, I kind of picture myself coming out of those cornfields out in Iowa.
Baseball's always been filled with ghosts. I think that's what attracts a lot of people, is this spirit of the game and the ghosts and the men that have come before us.
You know, you're basically wearing history on your chest.
Well, they keep talking about wearing history on their chest. The uniforms they're wearing right now, they're replicas of what was worn back in 1948, with one exception. 1948, those uniforms were wool. They're not wool right now. They're actually wearing a cotton blend today. And I'm sure the guys, considering it's fairly cold, they wish it was wool.
They wish it was wool.
That's a good point, because I was thinking, wait a minute, those jerseys were wool back then. They were wool up until the double knits of the late 60s.
How does it feel, Billy, you know, when you hit the major leagues or even minor leagues and you start putting on that uniform? Do you take the uniform and go to the room and say, hey, wow. I mean, the first time.
I'm sorry, Chuck. I wasn't that sentimental.
Well, when you put on the Yankee uniform for the first time, I know it just was a little different.
Okay,
right?
I live in the area, so yes, it really was. The pinstripes were really slimming.
Hey, Chuck, I hate to break your heart, but people who are not from New York don't get that all jazzed up about the Yankee pinstripes.
I'm a Met fan. We have pinstripes, too. Or, well, used to. Well, sometimes. The alternating uniforms.
You only have about 4.
Oh, Kevin Covington grabbing a hold of that one, but it's foul from the get-go.
That was a shot.
Richard Petrillo says, and I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, won't see that fastball. Miller played in again.
From Boston.
What was your experience from your father and from everyone else who you listened to growing up about the Negro Leagues up north?
Well, number one, just the term Negro.
Solid single into center field.
Yeah, the term Negro was actually not a derogatory term that actually, you know, people kind of like appendage to our situation today. You know, people, you know, to call a black person Negro instead of maybe black or African American can be used, considered derogatory. But Negro came out of the realm of the early parts of the 20th century, Booker T. Washington, and then of self-sufficiency. And then Marcus Garvey came along and said, hey, look, we're going to be called the new Negro. We're not going to take the hypocrisy or the atrocities that are delivered by a corrupt system or a hypocritical system, and say the Negro was a great term for black people for a long time, all the way up to civil rights. And so the Negro Leagues was something that say, wow, this is a league that actually speaks for the community, speaks on self-sufficiency. The teams that were up in the New York area, the New York Cuban Giants, the Elite Giants, the Newark Eagles, these were teams that actually reflected the work and the business force in the community of black people up in the North, who basically had relatives from all in the South anyway. So when you study black migration and you study black business, they're kind of all intertwined. And musicianship goes in it. Also the church, also, you know, a little bit of the criminal element, because you had numbers runners who also owned teams.
Right, Gus Greenlee.
But different, though, because the number runners were basically in the past, they were the lottery of the community. So they were trusted by the people, and they remembered the numbers, more importantly.
Now the states are the numbers runners.
Yeah, exactly.
Walk is issued to Eric San Inocencio, and Richard Petrillo in a bit of a pickle. Runners on at first, then at second, nobody out, trying to protect a one-run lead.
A lot of people going to the stores in Nebraska. Boy.
What did they get, about 15 million each? Dividing that, was it the Mega Ball or the Powerball?
I think it was the Powerball, but all I know is the comments and the stories that were after it by each one of the winners were very sincere. None of that, you know, well, I'll still work.
Joseph Bynum has to bend down and pitch up near the noggin.
I hear what you said earlier about, you know, about, yeah, not everybody feels the same about the New York teams if you're not from New York. I'm from Long Island, so I could definitely feel what you're saying, Eric. You know, not really New York, in Long Island.
Squaring the bunt, Bynum gets it down, back to the mound. Petrillo throws to third, and the force play is made there. Good play defensively by the Bristol Barnstormers.
Wasn't it, though? Because I thought he was breaking on the pitch. It's an outstanding play. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outstanding defensive plays. That wasn't as dramatic as the previous 4, but that was a pretty good heads-up play. He gets the bunt down a little hard and back to the pitcher, but still, he's moving almost immediately on the pitch and still gets forced out at third.
Yeah, I think we may have the spirit of some of these former Negro League players and some of the Barnstorming players in these guys today, because considering it's the end of February, they haven't had a lot of practice time together. We've seen some fantastic baseball play here.
Hey, this is the best game I've ever seen in February, baseball-wise.
Hey, better today than yesterday. We had snow. We had rain coming down sideways here at Rickwood yesterday.
Yeah, I was driving through it. I'm going to go to my crack statistician, my Palm Pilot, and actually try to look up when the lights were installed inside the oldest ballpark in America. Because I'm looking at the old lights, and obviously a lighting company must still be open to replace the bulbs.
And not working today, because there are some bulbs that are out.
and they're actually the old-fashioned, gigantic, what are basking lamps that were installed in ballparks back in the 40s, into the 30s. Post McPhail, who gets all the credit, when the Negro Leagues actually instituted lights, portable lights.
J.L. Wilkinson.
Yep, there you go.
Who is up for the Hall of Fame that'll be announced tomorrow.
Monday.
The owner of the Kansas City Monarchs.
Lights were actually installed, guys, in case you were wondering, in 1936.
Wow.
1936. Called strike.
Makes a
Clarence
lot of
Swain.
sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So 36 here. And when did McPhail have
38.
lights in
Cincinnati? Crosley Field was the first big league ballpark that had lights. You know the year?
38. I think
1938.
Crosley Field.
This ballpark you're looking at right here, it does have similarities to ballparks in the big leagues back turn of the century. It was actually designed by Connie Mack, who at the time was the manager of the Philadelphia Athletics. He came down here at the behest of the Birmingham Barons to design the ballpark. Called strike 3, throw to first base, and just barely back to the bag is Joseph Bynum. He was almost picked off by Matt March.
Tell me if March hasn't pulled 3 stunners or 2.5.
Well, Bynum was taking off as if it was part of a double steal. And he just does get back.